Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Leanne.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And this week, never tell us the odds. We're talking Han Solo, baby. Sorry, I had to.
Everyone's favorite scoundrel.
Yes, and hero.
Yes, he is a hero.
He is. He doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to be known as it, but he's a hero.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A reluctant hero.
A reluctant hero.
Handsome as fuck hero.
Handsome. Harrison Ford in his prime.
Oh my god, yes.
Damn, and Carrie Fisher got to tap that. I mean, forget all the logistical things aside and, you know, the morality of it all, but...
Right.
Get
the
it,
fact
girl.
that he was like twice her age or whatever.
Right, well, and I think, pretty sure he was married.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he was married. I mean, that's what she said. So, anyway. Get it, girl. So, we're going to focus, since there's so much to go over. We could talk so many hours upon hours about Han Solo. But we're going to narrow it down to our top 3 favorite Han Solo moments.
It's going to be really hard.
It's like when we talked about our top 5 Clone Wars moments and we had so many honorable mentions, it's kind of the same thing. And it's only about one character.
Look at my whole list. And
she's got a whole list of notes. Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more than 3.
All right, well, let's get into it then. You want to go first?
What's starting with number 3 and working up to 1?
Yeah, let's go with number 3 and work up to 1, shall we?
Okay, so... my number 3 Han Solo moment is actually from Force Awakens.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
It's the moment where he says to Finn, "That's not how the Force works." And then he turns to Chewie and he's like, "Oh, really? You're cold?"
Yeah. He still maintained his Han Solo-ness all these decades later, right? Love it.
The fact that Chewie is bitching about how cold he is in a moment like that.
100%.
Han takes the time to tell him to basically shut up, we're busy.
Yeah. There's a lot of the Force Awakens moments when he says, "Chewie, we're home."
Yes. It's a great moment.
When he says, "All of it, it's all true."
Yes. And like, I knew Luke, all of that scene. Mm.
Yeah, and knowing that Han Solo wasn't a believer. He wasn't a believer in any of it. He just wanted his money and wanted out.
Yeah.
And he ends up wrapped up in this family of his, in this heroic journey of his own.
Yeah.
And literally, he wanted nothing to do with it. And
I know. The Skywalker family just wouldn't have it.
No. We know how dramatic those bastards are. So once you're in their grasp, it's hard to get out.
Then you start having kids with them and you can never get out.
Seriously, you can never get out. I mean, shit, it just lingers, right?
Well, and I really do like all the moments between him and his son, you know. They're awful to watch. They're like heartbreaking, but their performances together are so humane and heartbreaking and
and Adam Driver is the perfect son.
Yes.
Of Han Solo. I mean, you want to talk about someone who actually looks like he could be the son of Harrison Ford / Han Solo.
Yeah.
But the mannerisms, he gets them all down. The tiny little nods to some of the, the movements of, Han Solo from the original trilogy. All of it. I mean,
like the shoulder shrug and the...
and the sliding. You know, how they slide to the end of the... I mean, all of the Han Solo things that we love Han for.
Yeah.
Like Adam Driver was able to bring that to life. Kudos to Adam Driver. Fantastic actor, in my opinion.
Oh, I love him. He's great. Yes.
He's great in everything he's in, honestly.
Truly. So what's your number 3?
If I had to pick a number 3, I think it's when Han was ready to, like I was saying, he wanted his money and he wanted out, right? But in Empire Strikes Back, another scene that I love, because, in this movie, that's my favorite, is when Luke is out there somewhere, and Han was about to leave, and he's like, hell no, the temperature's dropping. I'm going out there. I'm going to go get my friend. I mean, it's that moment of like, he had so many chances to leave, but he saved Luke.
Yeah.
Again, I mean,
right.
You could say, which, he goes out and takes a
huge personal risk just to save his best friend.
What does it say? Like, you're never going to make it to the first marker or something. Well, I'll see you in hell. It's like so perfectly delivered. And then he just rides off on the Tauntaun and goes out into the freezing cold to save Luke. And then he comes up with that brilliant idea to keep Luke warm, which,
ew.
The Tauntaun's already dead, everybody.
Yes,
but he cuts open the belly and shoves Luke in there to keep him warm. It's brilliant, honestly.
It's smart, and I'm sure it was really unpleasant to hang out with Luke in the shelter afterwards. He probably smelled terrible.
The smell was probably awful. So there are a lot of personal sacrifices made.
That line, though, where he says, and then I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Yes! That's right. Yes.
Oh, it's such a good moment.
There are so many quotes and one-liners.
Seriously. His character probably has the best one-liners throughout the whole series.
Absolutely. And the best part is that the other perfect one-liners are from Chewie, but we don't even know what the hell he says. It's like, wah, 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 and then...
Only Han knows.
Yeah, but he's talking back to him, so it's like, they're the perfect pair.
It's so great.
But yeah, that's my top three. I guess my third
That's a great
favorite moment.
That's on my honorable mentions.
Is it? There you go. There you go.
All right, so number two. It's the end of A New Hope. Where they all...
That's mine too!
Is it?
Yes! Oh, wait, what were you going to say?
Well, the part where they all reconverge
they
after...
hug?
Yes, where they all run up to each other and hug and like... I love that moment.
Mine is slightly different.
Okay, good. So we're not exactly...
But go ahead, we'll get to it. The hug is the most pure thing captured on film ever. I don't care what anyone says.
The smiles.
Those three.
Are so genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful. And I like the way he kind of like slaps Luke's face.
Yeah, like, get out of here.
It's like a big brother. It
is. Han is a bit of a protector over Luke. Mm-hmm. And he calls him kid, because just establishing that, hierarchy, if you will.
Right.
That hug is... The reunion at the end of that it's a beautiful moment. I agree with you.
It's like one of the few times Han really lets his guard down because Luke says, I knew you'd come back. I just knew it. And like Han's smile is so genuine and he doesn't say anything really. It's just more like, well, I guess he says, I can't let you take all the reward. But like...
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But that's just, Han uses humor to soften a little bit of the more emotional things that he doesn't, he doesn't like to be vulnerable.
Exactly.
So he uses humor in place of that.
Yeah. So, I just love that moment.
It's perfect.
It is. And like, no other set of actors could have made that scene.
No. Mm-mm. No, I know we're biased here on this show, but...
unapologetically so.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, find me a trio that's better, I'll wait. But I mean, there's a lot of good trios out there in film, so I'll just hold back. But I'm telling you, that was the most genuine hug ever captured on film. Bottom line.
Period.
Yeah.
And done.
Period. End of story. My number two?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of before this moment, I always get chills and I always cheer when you think that Han is gone and then Vader's chasing after Luke, going towards the Death Star. Luke's going to try and here comes the Millennium Falcon. Han turned around and took care of Vader, at least for, to allow Luke to go finish the business on the Death Star.
Yes.
And it's like that, yes, he came back. Like, I don't care how many times I've watched this movie, I always cheer, like, Han came back,
It's so great.
Yeah, it's like, I have a little bit of goosebumps just talking about it. It's one of those things where, I mean, it's been a long time since I saw this film for the first time, but it doesn't replace the fact that I always cheer every time Han comes back,
It's such a great moment because it's unexpected, especially when you've never seen it before.
Right. But it leads up to your number two moment, which is why it's so great when they all come together and Luke says, I knew you'd come back. And it's like, yes, like
Yeah, it's like he finally decides to kind of commit to something bigger than himself.
Bigger than himself, yes.
And he goes back and forth on it, like in Empire Strikes Back, when he says he has to go. The bounty hunter they ran into made him realize he has to go pay off Jabba the Hutt. But
well, it's I get it though, because there's a part of Han that he's staring down major changes in his life, and he's always been so comfortable in the lane that he's been in, which is smuggling, kind of two-faced, I guess, depending on who he was around, and who he could get the money, bounty hunter stuff. And I feel like the Empire Strikes Back thing when he was trying to leave was just him like wanting to try and get back into that, but he was already too far gone, if you ask me. He was too into it, obviously, because he goes and saves Luke, and he obviously liked Leia. We see it in, that little smirk he has at the end of, at the very, very end of A New Hope when they get the medals. But like, I get it because he feels he's still somewhat attached to his old self, and yet he's staring down the barrel of his new self, and he's not quite sure he wants to fully commit, and then he does. I mean, he's in it.
Yeah.
He's in it all the way to the end.
But then, like, at what point does he go off, I know they say in the sequel trilogy that, like, basically his son getting corrupted was the moment that he, like, left, I guess. I don't know. That just was really sad to me. That whole, like, him and Leia not being on the same page at the end of the story was really sad. I'm glad they, like, kind of reconciled. They had that moment where they reconciled, but that was really heartbreaking because it was so hard to get those characters together.
Yeah. You get a little more of it if you read the book Bloodline. It focuses on Leia predominantly. And, Ben is in the picture. Ben is with Luke, and Han is, if I remember correctly, he's teaching people to fly, or he has some kind of, I don't want to misquote or misdescribe, but she has, like, video conferences. She Skypes with him. And there's still an affection there. There's still a partnership. But it's described, I believe, as, like, things are always difficult between them, and there's always space between them. And I really was heartbroken when, in the now canon, that their son turned to the dark side. I always want these couples to have, like, a happy ever after,
Yeah.
But there's a Skywalker involved, so that's not possible. I should know better.
Yeah.
Leia is still a Skywalker, and whenever that blood is involved, it's never going to be easy.
No, it's always going to be tragic.
But I always say, like, I think they would be better parents than that, but it really doesn't have anything to do with parentage.
No.
How your kid turns out, it's the whole nature versus nurture.
Yeah, I mean, you can set a foundation, but then after a certain point, it's not really your fault or your responsibility anymore how a person is as an adult.
And I still think that Han maybe wrestled with that. Obviously, Leia did, because we saw more of her wrestling with it.
Yeah, their whole family dynamic just, like, breaks my damn heart.
It really does. It really does. I love them as characters together.
Well, like the moment where she says, if you see our son, bring him home.
I know. They're still partners.
She's saying, like, Luke's not his father. You're his father. And it's just like, and that moment of self-sacrifice with Han, it's like, it's just not going to go well.
I know.
No character who walks out on a scaffold in Star Wars is going to come off of it. So
no. And God damn it.
Only bad things happen up on those.
On scaffolding. Damn it. Scaffolding moments. The drama with scaffolding in Star Wars. Places you don't want to go.
Only
scaffolding.
Leads to heartbreak, or you lose a limb or something.
That's it. Yep.
Stay away.
Never go out on the scaffolding. All right, number 1. Do we have the same one?
Probably, I would guess. I don't know. It's like everyone's number 1. I think.
Yeah, we have the same one.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. There is no other scene. Go ahead and say it.
Is it the I love you, I know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on. When I first saw that scene, I was like, that was like the most romantic thing I'd ever seen.
It is still.
And it's so delivered. It's delivered so, and the lighting, the drama, Chewie screaming, like, because he's, it's all these things. But it's the poignancy of it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I remember feeling really distressed watching that as a kid because, like you said, there's so much going on and everyone is so upset. But now, like, as an adult, you hear the, like, vulnerability in his voice when he says, I know. And, like, their kiss is so romantic. And
yes. They literally have to peel Leia off of him.
Yeah.
Or pull him back.
Pulled apart.
They're pulled apart.
Yeah, that's like such a trope that I love, but also if you lived that in real life, that would be fucking devastating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I would have handled it way worse than Leia. Leia was a pillar of strength. I mean,
that's just what she is.
That's what she is.
Yeah.
Very Padme. Very Padme.
Yeah.
Pillar of strength stuff, you know. But yeah, that is hella romantic.
Yeah, love it. And have you seen people get wedding rings engraved with that?
Yes. And I've seen like just married t-shirts at Disney where it's like, I love him, I know, or I love you, I know. And they're pointing at each other like there's fingers pointing at the other t-shirt.
Adorable.
And it's like, it's just a great scene.
It is.
It's great. And it's like, you expect, I love you. And you expect the return to be, I love you too. Mm-hmm. But it's so Han Solo and so like,
yeah.
God, it's so good.
Everyone knows this story too, that it was written, I love you too. And it wasn't working.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so Harrison Ford, you know, as well. Because he was like, okay, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to go with what I feel. And it couldn't have been more perfect.
No, it was absolutely perfect. I would not change that scene, not 1 ounce, not 1 second. It's perfect.
And like the way he is looking up at her.
Oh, as he descends into the...
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I know, he doesn't take his eyes off of her.
It's so much more romantic and more telling of the character than if he had said, I love you too.
Yeah, exactly. No, and the thing is like, Leia had to... That was a big admission for Leia. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Han already knew he's loved her this whole time, you know?
Yeah.
And he was just waiting on her to say it. Oh, God, I love it.
Because they're both so proud. They don't want to be...
They are. They're both stubborn assholes, honestly. Which is why they're perfect for each other.
They don't want to yield. No one wants to give ground, you know?
No. It's just in that moment, she finally gives in it. Oh,
it's very satisfying. Yeah.
Yes.
You can yield with love. That's okay.
Yes.
It's one of my all-time favorite Star Wars scenes. It's very, very romantic.
And then we have the flip side in The Rise of Skywalker, where Ben is about to say, Dad. And then Han says, I know. And that's Han's, it's the last words out of Han Solo in canon, you know, in the film.
Yeah.
Films. And it's very appropriate, and I love every second of it. That scene fucking killed me in the theater. Me too.
Oh, my God. All the scenes between him and Ben are just so fraught with emotion.
Yes.
And the fact that I do love that they brought it back around so that Kylo starts to disappear and Ben starts to reappear, and he sees his father.
It's his admission of love, like Leia's was once upon a time ago, that propels him forward, and Han just said, I know.
Yeah.
And it was well done. That was well done.
Yeah. It's it's beautifully paralleled. And then for him to then really turn and like throw his lightsaber into the ocean after that.
Like the final layer of Kylo is gone.
Yes.
And god damn it, was Ben Solo badass in every scene that followed.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
fuck.
Yeah. I wanted more. I wanted more Ben and less Kylo.
I never even realized the only words, basically, that Ben says once he's like, is ow.
Really?
Yeah. He like jumps and catches onto a thing and goes, ow. That's the only word.
That's Han Solo-ish.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I guess I never realized that, but you're right.
I didn't either. I thought he said something more at the end when he's with Rey in the throne room, but he doesn't. Like, that's it.
No. Sometimes you don't need words. You just need a force bond, right?
Yeah, less is more. Mm-hmm. So you have some honorable mentions?
Oh, I do. My top honorable mention would be every single moment and interaction ever that he's ever had with Lando. Because those two are a piece of work. I love we get so much of their backstory in just such a tiny ass scene, like when they land on Bespin and he comes out to greet Han and Chewie and Leia, and like I love them. I love them as a scoundrel pair, you know. And
I love the moment where Han's been like punched in the face and Lando's like, I've done all I can, and Han's like, yeah, you're a real hero.
Yeah, you're a real hero. Like they're still at each other's asses the entire, you know.
You know, it's like, could we just get back on track?
Insults. Yes. I enjoy Lando's character because there's a lot there in a character that we don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
And portrayed perfectly. And of course, love him in the sequels. But yeah, I enjoy like when they first get there and his interactions with Lando. Yeah, that would be one of my honorable mentions.
That's amazing. I love it.
How about you?
Mine I've talked about in a previous episode, I'm sure. Oh. The whole it's when they're trying to break Leia out of prison and he's like, everything's fine here, situation normal.
Oh yes. Yeah, and the
How
intercom.
are you?
Yeah. Well done. Good ad-libbing, Han.
Yeah, seriously. And the whole like boring conversation anyway. It's like we've all like been in situations like that.
Yes, we all have. Every company meeting on Zoom at this point.
Yeah, situation normal. Don't pay attention to my back.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Like,
oh my God, I just love the way he delivers all those lines. It's so funny.
Oh, it's perfect. The delivery. I'm telling you, Harrison Ford. There's no one else that could play this.
No. Well, and he wasn't even supposed to play the part. No. He was just helping George Lucas read lines, and they're like, "We're really liking this guy. Give him a job."
It was meant to be. It was absolutely meant to be.
Yeah.
You want to know my other?
Yeah, what else have you got?
It's also in Empire Strikes Back, because Empire Strikes Back is everything to me.
It's the best.
How amazing is it when they go into the dining room area, Lando leads them into the dining room, and there's fucking Darth Vader. We're talking Darth Vader at the end of the table. And what does Han do? Doesn't even blink. He pulls out the blaster and shoots at the man. Who else would do that, honestly, immediately without thinking?
Yes.
Han Solo. That's who.
He protect.
Yes. He attack, he protect, right?
I love that scene.
He's a hero, whether he wants to be or not.
The look on his face when Vader just like pulls the gun out of his hand. He's like,
just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I forgot who I was shooting at. Oops. Like,
yeah. Well, and then later, it's like, my girlfriend's dad is real scary.
Yeah, I'm going to rethink this.
Yeah, what am I getting myself into? God. Talk about family baggage.
The Christmas parties are much different with the Skywalkers. Much different.
Oh, my God.
But I just love that because he shoots first, thinks second.
Yeah.
Always. And even when it's Darth Vader. But he steps in front of Leia. Does he hold her or hold her hand or something? But he steps in front of her.
Yeah.
He's a natural protector.
Han shot first.
Yeah, always. Doesn't matter if the bolt made it to the man in black. He still shot first. Yes. How badass is Vader in that scene? I'm sorry.
It's so good. And then he's so polite. He's like, we would be honored if you would join us.
I want to know what happened after those doors closed. Don't you?
Yeah, well, they ended up torturing everybody, apparently.
Well, yeah, poor Han. But
yeah, Han had a really hard time in
he
Empire
did, and he
Strikes
still
Back.
went back to Leia after all that.
Yeah, because that's love.
It is love.
It's real love.
I love Han.
I know, I do too.
You just said it. I said, I love Han, and you're like, I know. We didn't have that planned, folks. We did not have that planned. Nope.
That's just what happens when you start to embody the characters.
I love it so much. You have any more?
Yeah, I love in Empire Strikes Back also the scene where he's rescued Luke and they're back in Hoth base and he's giving Leia a really hard time. She says he's scruffy looking, but then when Chewie laughs at him and he's like, laugh it up, fuzzball.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what Leia said to him. It's the fact that Chewie laughed that really irritated him.
It's so great.
Those two, you know what I love more than anything in a good story? Are two best friends.
Yes.
Like the best friends who stick together for life, no matter what.
But also bicker like an old married couple.
Yes. I love the friends like that.
Yeah.
And those two are like that. They bicker like an old married couple, but they love it. They would kill for one another.
Yes.
Literally. And I love him and Chewie.
I do too.
I mean,
which is why it's so sad.
It's so, every single one of these things is so sad knowing like what happens.
Dude, the last time I watched the sequel trilogies, like, it was horrible that Chewie watched Han die. And then when he finds out Leia dies and Chewie starts screaming and, like, falls on the ground.
Yeah, doesn't he fall on the ground?
Yes.
Awful. Terrible.
I started crying like a baby. I was like, this is just too much. It's too sad.
Well, if you recall, Leia didn't really like Chewie too much. You know, this walking carpet. Get this walking carpet out of my face, or whatever she says. You know?
I love that a princess talked that way. That was so great for me as a kid growing up.
Me too. To have a strong female who just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher's delivery. I mean, she's tiny, which makes it even better.
Yes.
Because she was this little like pipsqueak of a human and big presence, right?
Yeah.
And she's talking to this 7-foot Wookiee. You know, I just love the whole thing.
Like,
the whole thing is so...
Wookiees are known for ripping people's arms out of the saga.
Yes.
And she's like, get this walking carpet out of my way.
Yeah. And the reluctancy of their friendship that, you know, that just grew over time.
Yes.
It's sweet. And
I love it. He's
forever tied to Han, so she would always see a little bit of Han every time that she looked at Chewie, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's so beautiful and so painful.
It really is.
Do you have any other honorable mentions?
Those are basically it. They're all good.
I mean, there's so many one-liners, right? Like, fly casual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fly casual. And I love the scene where he floats away with the garbage. Like, you know, how they attach themselves to the Star Destroyer, and then how he does the thing with the fingers, like, we'll just float away with the garbage. Like,
yes.
You know, it's a good plan.
He's so smart, and people like, kind of forget that. You can't be a good pilot and an idiot. Like, your brain has to be able to compute things. And apparently they said, like, I've read that because Han does a lot of his calculations himself, he's, like, super intelligent.
Yeah, I definitely. And just because he's a little unpolished doesn't make him unintelligent. And that's the thing. He's plotting, he's thinking, he's calculating.
Yes.
But he also cares, and that's a really great combination to have when you see the character growth that takes place.
Yeah, because he keeps things from getting sickeningly sweet, but he's still got a heart of gold. So it's like, you know, you can actually rely on him. He's not going to betray you. He's not double-crossing. But he's also going to be like, well, that's stupid. I don't think this
is true. You want someone whose honesty you can appreciate like that when it's genuine and it's out of a place of caring. Mm-hmm. Those are hard to come by. And Han's a good friend as well as a loyal friend.
Yes, absolutely.
And a damn good character.
Yes.
We love him.
With amazing hair. The hair is...
Oh, the hair!
The feathered...
Oh, it's just the floofiness of it.
And the little crooked grin. His little smile.
All the Harrison Ford things that we love.
Yeah.
Oh. So, turning it over to you as we always do, what is your favorite Han Solo moment? Can you narrow it down to one? Because we couldn't.
It's really hard.
So if you have more than one, let us know. There's so many to love. There's so many to appreciate, even if it's just one of his one-liners.
Yeah. Oh, he's a gem of a character.
He is. He really is.
Next week, join us for some darkness.
Yes.
We are going to discuss the idea of Sith Obi-Wan.
Yes, we're going there.
We're going to go there.
It's long overdue, but I am excited. Sith Obi-Wan is a guilty pleasure for not just us, but many.
Many people. Yeah. It's never going to happen in canon. It hardly even makes any sense because he's so pure. Blah, blah, blah. This is this is a
our
what if
place. Yes. This is a what if for sure. Oh, it's going to be fun.
So last week on the show, we discussed the cave scene from The Empire Strikes Back. And it seemed to be a favorite amongst people so far. It was definitely one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded. And we got some really fun comments from Kenobi Wolf on Instagram. He said, Regarding scenes or stories I don't get, Mortis, please. I've watched that arc several times, and while I kind of get it, I would dig a discussion on it from you two. And frankly, the whole, quote, balance of the Force prophecy is confusing. The Jedi held such optimism in the idea of the Chosen One and bringing balance to the Force, but they seemed ignorant to the fact that balance literally would mean light and dark would be stable and active. He also brought up the strange business of Padme Amidala, pillar of strength, senator, youngest queen of Naboo, dying of a broken heart, and how that seems to be a bit pathetic for such a strong character, and that there are theories out there that maybe Palpatine drained her life force to put it into Anakin or whatever. Either way, it has always struck me and Leanne as a strange scene, and I think that would be really fun to delve into. Honestly, all of these suggestions, Kenobi Wolf, would be so fun to talk about. And we are definitely adding each and every one of these onto our episode list. So look out for these in the future. We will definitely have a deep, passionate discussion about this. I know this might surprise all of you, but Leanne and I have very strong feelings on all of these subjects. Thank you so much for writing in, Kenobi Wolf. We really appreciate all the support that you've shown for our podcast.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. Remember to follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe on any one of your favorite podcast players. Plus, you can always find us over at mostthinkskenobi.com.
So, until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.